Hey guys, it's your favorite YouTuber here, Gamer McViolent Pants, and I was playing some Call of Duty earlier, and I learned something about myself that I wanted to share with you. I was playing, and I don't know what happened, man. It just kind of came over me. It was just this sudden feeling of rage, of just pure anger. I've never felt anything like it in my life, if I'm being honest with you. And I've played so much Call of Duty and these other games in my life, and none of this has ever happened to me before. But it was so out of the blue that I never had believed that something like this could ever happen to me. And what really kind of throws me for a loop about this is I was talking to an older woman in the store the other day about this video game that was in the electronics aisle at Walmart, and she told me that these games, according to these politicians she was watching on the news, apparently were causing real-life violence and were the problem with all these, these big tragedies and stuff. And I hate to say it, but I think that's it. I think that's the truth, because I can't think of any other reason why something like that would happen. I don't know. But no, on a serious note, obviously, we as a society here in the United States have a very serious problem, and we need to address it. And the way that we should not do that is to blame video games time and time again. Now, I held off making a video like this. We're starting to see some more direct effects of this whole video games cause violence conversation going on within our society. So in reality, I'm kind of glad that I held off talking about it for a few days, because, well, there's two good examples that I want to bring up today of what this kind of, this stupid pseudo-scientific belief kind of, I guess, incites within our society, what kind of fear that it creates, what kind of censorship that it creates, and just really the stupidity of the whole thing. Because obviously video games have become a scapegoat once again, and they've been a scapegoat along with other forms of violent media for a very long time. But probably even before I was alive. But at this point, it's ridiculous how far that this whole stupid notion has really gone, because the science behind it is irrefutable. Video games do not cause real-life violence. They do not contribute to it. It's been proven time and time again. There is no correlation to it. But yet you keep seeing these politicians and people, saying these things, and you probably wonder why. Well, I think I have a pretty decent explanation behind the whole thing. But before we go further, I'd like to introduce today's sponsor, The Ridge. The Ridge makes products for you to carry that simplify your day-to-day life. They have wallets, backpacks, phone cases, power banks, chargers, and even more. Their wallets are these nice, sleek, RFID blocking metal wallets that not only look awesome, but keep you protected from thieves that want to steal your credit card information. They have over a dozen different styles and colors to choose from, plus all their other products. I've been using personally the black titanium wallet and a power bank, and sure enough, they've been holding up pretty great. Why carry around an old wallet that might not keep you protected when you can carry this bad lad around? Get a Ridge wallet and step it up a notch. Go to the link on screen or down below and get 10% off with free worldwide shipping by going to ridge.com/Optimus. That's ridge.com/Optimus and using code Optimus. Link is in the description. Thank you to The Ridge for sponsoring this video, because it's a lot easier to blame video games for a problem that it doesn't contribute to than it is to actually face that issue head on. I mean, why would you want to face the issue of, these big tragedies and stuff going on in our society when you can take a step back from that whole problem, probably get paid off by some lobbyists to not take that problem on head on, and at the same time, you can pass the whole problem off onto a scapegoat like the video game industry? I mean, it's a win-win situation. Plus, at the same time, just for brownie points, they're playing right into their voters' demographics. I mean, these older politicians, they're just telling older people who hate video games in the first place exactly what they want to hear. Them video games are bad, man, I'm telling you. Them children, they're learning exactly how they're playing the military games, and they're learning how to kill. It's training them to do evil things. We live in a bad society, and you keep letting your kid play them fork knives and them Call o' Duties, and I tell you what, by next morning, they're going to be spraying everything in the neighborhood up. It's playing into everyone's pocket. It's the easiest explanation that I can come up with, at least. Anyways, with that being said, two examples that I want to bring up, because these are relatively fresh in my mind, are Walmart and ESPN. these just came out today, and I want to cover well, they came out yesterday probably by the time you're seeing this video, but they came out today as of me recording this video, and I want to talk about these because these directly show the effects of what stupid comments like these video games cause violence really bring. So if you've ever been inside of a Walmart and you've ever gone back to the electronics section, you know, peeked at the video games, you've probably seen those big like box posters and stuff out in the aisleway for like, I don't know, Call of Duty, Grand Theft Auto, Madden, all the blockbuster games, right? Like the big games, the best-selling games every single year. Some of which definitely are violent. Generally, it's games like Call of Duty because, let's be honest, Call of Duty is the best-selling game pretty much every single year. But with that being said, you've most likely seen those things. I mean, they advertise those games because, you know, they get paid to advertise those games, and at the same time, you know, it incentivizes you to come back into Walmart and buy that game in their store. They make money both ways by doing that. It's really a good idea, so with that being said, they're gonna stop doing that for violent video games because of what's been going on here in the States. What I'm showing you is a memo that was sent out to employees, not in just one store, but in several stores, in several locations, that show them what to do when it comes down to things that are displaying or referencing violence, okay? You're to review the store for signs that display or contain violent images or aggressive behavior. You remove them from the sales floor or turn them off. And even if you don't know 100% whether or not these things are actually bad enough to fall within these categories, you just do it to be safe. So if you don't know, just overreact potentially. That's the best option. It's a shame that America's had such a problem that we've gotten to the point where people even have to consider being so hypersensitive that we take down video game posters because we don't want that to contribute to the problem. We're turning off and unplugging video game consoles that show a demo of violent games. Okay, merchandisers will be there to update those demo units. We're canceling events promoting combat style or shooter games that might be scheduled. We're verifying that no movies depicting violence are playing in electronics. We're turning off hunting season videos that might be playing in sporting goods and removing monitors that display the videos. We're checking the signs through the store and removing any that reference third-person shooter video games. So basically speaking, they're taking all the violent stuff out of Walmart, so all the video game demos and stuff that you might go and play, which I've done before, and they've determined whether or not I buy video games. Those are going to be gone from some stores. I don't know if it's going to be every Walmart, but I assume at some point it probably will be. And what I find really ironic about this whole thing, and really stupid, is that Walmart is so hypersensitive about people seeing violent things and so hypersensitive about people seeing guns and people getting shot, but they are so willing to see you buy a rifle from their store. They actually have an entire row of rifles that you can buy in the sporting goods section of a Walmart. Oh God, he's blaming the guns. Here we go. Oh, guns don't kill people, people kill people. I'm not blaming the guns, okay? I'm well aware that a gun doesn't walk into a Walmart and kill 20 people. I think we can all admit that a gun is a tool used in every single one of these mass shootings. And that if anything, if Walmart is really afraid of people going into Walmart and seeing things that might turn them violent and make them really act, you know, outrageous and seeing things that might really contribute to mass shootings, maybe the first things that should be removed from their stores are actually the guns themselves and not things like video games, which are scientifically proven to have no correlation to the violence itself, but also are completely incapable of killing somebody. But Walmart is not the only people who are overreacting to everything and just, you know, making brash decisions and blaming video games by just wiping them out of existence and pretending they don't exist because violent video games are bad. ESPN, they're the next ones to do it. So ESPN has kind of shifted their focus here in the last few years to include esports because esports has been booming as an industry. It's no shocker that they would do something like that. You know, it's a good way to make money. Well, anyways, they had an X Games Apex Legends Invitational tournament just a few days ago, and well, they were going to have a highlight scheduled on ESPN2, which is one of the ESPN channels, in a few days. This highlight obviously was going to show clips from this tournament, Apex Legends being a battle royale shooter game, and of course with everything going on, well, that's not happening because they're canceling the event from ESPN2 and moving it to ESPN3 because it can't air on their first two networks. That would be too harsh. It can't be shown there out of respect to the victims and the tragedies themselves. But it can be shown on ESPN3 because we have so much respect for the victims and whatnot, and we have all our condolences there that will show so much respect for them that we'll take it off the first 2 channels and just put it on the 3rd one. That's our threshold of respect. And at the same time, I just don't understand, like, what did you think was going to happen? You know what I'm saying? Do you really think someone's going to watch the Apex Legends Invitational highlight and they're just going to be like, well, I guess I got to do this now? I just don't get the thought process behind it. Like, you heard a couple stupid politicians say that they think video games cause violence, and your first thought was like, hey, maybe we shouldn't show those highlights on our channel. Or if you're like the guy running the signs or whatever that job would qualify at Walmart, you're just like, hey, did you hear the president? He said that we gotta watch what our kids are playing in them video games. Did you hear the other politicians? They said them video games are bad, they cause violence. They're like, get Tim on the phone. We need to talk to him. They're like, Tim, you mean the guy who runs signage and advertising in all Walmarts? They're like, yeah, get him on the phone. He's like, hey, Tim's here. Tim, we need you to get all violent media out of the stores immediately. He's like, oh, violent video games out? Well, I got you, sir. Like, what do you think is going to happen if someone walks into Walmart and they see a Call of Duty poster? Do you think that's it for everybody? Do you really think that's what's going to happen? It just seems to me like these are just really harsh oversteps of everything, and they're just overreacting to the problem instead of trying to actually combat them, because why combat the issue? Why actually try to fix the problem when you can just, you know, do nothing and pretend that you're doing something? That's better. So before we get through with this whole thing, I'm just going to leave you guys with some food for thought here. The United States has had over 250 mass shootings this year so far. Most other, developed nations have had either 0, maybe 1, maybe 2, maybe 3. They want to blame violent video games for that here in the United States, but consider this. All these other countries have video games. And they have the same exact video games that we have in the United States. So they've got the same games, they've got the same access to games. I think when you look at that, maybe video games aren't the problem here. When the analytic brain looks at that one, it kind of realizes that video games aren't the root cause of this one. Then again, most of these politicians, they're not analytical thinkers. They're not thinkers in the first place. We elect stupid people, let's be honest. Stupid people who look smart when they get lobbyist money and avoid the issue. That's what it really comes down to. But on top of that, over 166 million Americans played video games of some sort last year. How many of them do you really think are out here just, destroying everything in sight? So just think about that, because video games are the problem, right? Thank you for watching. If you did enjoy, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're brand new around here, follow me over on Twitter at @SubToOptimus. I post memes, thoughts, and updates over there. It's a surefire way to get notifications of all my newest content. Join the Discord down below, lots of great things going on down there as well. Thank you to my channel members for your support, it helps my channel tremendously. And until my next video, guys, this is Optimus, blaming video games, and signing out.